Hey guys, so we're going to go through some of the property and portfolio graphs over on the maps page now. Usually I do like one individual video for each of these graphs, but they're all pretty straightforward and simple to explain. So it's going to be like a 30-second video for each. I'll just go through them all and hopefully we'll get through them in 5 minutes or less. But the first one that we've got is our portfolio growth. So what these three top ones are, and these six graphs will only show if you do have an existing portfolio. But what we're looking at in property growth is just all of the properties in your portfolio and how they've grown over time. So we can understand which are the good performers, who's the best performer, and then if there's been any bad performers in the portfolio. And again, really, this is just about identifying, any areas in the portfolio that we need to address or concerns we need to look at, and that'll help us make decisions moving forward. The second one that we've got is property yields. So even though the first two are better performers, the yields are smaller than our third property that was a bad performer but has a higher yield. So again, is that the play for the property? Is that what you're after? Is that what you want in your portfolio? It's good just to sort of have a comparison against them all and see how they're performing. But then to get the final picture on all three of them, we can see what the cash flow on all three of them is. So even though it had a stronger yield, both the first and the third properties are negatively geared, but our middle property is quite positively geared here, so looking strong from that side of things. So again, it's just breaking down the three properties or however many properties you have in your portfolio and being able to compare them together. And having a look there, all of them are telling different stories. One's a bad performer, looks like it's got a good yield, but actually it's still negative. Do we want to keep that within the portfolio compared to the rest of the properties? Is there an opportunity cost by holding on to that property? Now for our second tier or second layer of graphs and charts here, our first one is our portfolio equity. So essentially what we've got here is the first thing is our total portfolio value. So all of those three properties together combined are about 1.6 mil. Our total debt on that is around 1.2. And the difference between those two numbers is in the purple box here in the equity at 393,000. So that's how much equity that you own or how much we own of the portfolio that we hold today, which is very different to borrowable equity. What borrowable equity is how much we can actually extract or pull out of the portfolio to use for a deposit or have in an offset account. So the way we calculate this is essentially if we were to go to an 80% LVR, refinance our whole portfolio, we could bring out new debt of around 134,000. Sorry, 1.34 million. And our current debt is 1,282, which we saw before. So our current debt and our current debt is the same. And the borrowable equity is just the difference between what's the new debt that we could pull out. That'll pay off all of the existing debt. And then we've got a bit of buffer of the 58,000 down the bottom. So that's the borrowable equity that we can pull out. We can pull out about 58,000. So difference there between actual equity and borrowable equity. Then we've got a very simple loan to value ratio. What this just simply shows is your LVR or loan to value ratio broken down in a pie chart. So we'll see that number of 393 again. That's what we own in equity. And so we own 23.5% of our portfolio. But the debt at 1.282 mil is 76.5%. So our loan to value of the property or portfolio ratio is 76.5%. Again, just a really simple way to understand what your LVR is overall on the portfolio. And then finally, our portfolio cash flow is a summarized version of our property cash flow. So on our property cash flow, we can see each individual property and what their numbers are, but the portfolio cash flow summarizes everything here. So we have an overall income of 63,000. We have overall expenses of 59,000, which means overall in the portfolio, even though some are negatively geared, it's still positive around $5,000 a year. So good just to get a bit of a breakdown of the whole cash flow on all the portfolios. So yeah, got through that pretty quickly, guys. That's how it sort of summarizes the top level of graphs here. And as I mentioned at the start, these will only appear if you do have properties within the portfolio. Thanks.